In the beginning, the Word already existed. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. He existed in the beginning with God. God created everything through him, and nothing was created except through him. The Word gave life to everything that was created, and his life brought light to everyone. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness can never extinguish it. God sent a man, John the Baptist, to tell about the light so that everyone might believe because of his testimony. John himself was not the light. He was simply a witness to tell about the light. The one who is the true light, who gives light to everyone, was coming into the world.
Good morning. My name is Zachariah, and today I wanted to tell you a story about the birth and the life of my son John. See, John's birth was actually a miracle in and of itself. My wife and I, Elizabeth and I, were praying for a child. Our whole life we were praying for a child, and God never blessed us with a child yet. See, we came from a line that dated back. I was a priest. I'm a priest, and I dated all the way back to the time of Moses and Aaron. That's the line of family I come from. And so we knew about all of the miracles that all of my family experienced back in the Old Testament that you know about from these stories that we've been told. We knew about all of that, and we knew about this Messiah, this promise. The promised Messiah, and we were just waiting for this Messiah to come. Now, I told you, we were old. I was very, very old. My wife was very, very old. We were way past the time that we could have kids. It would be impossible, right? But nothing is impossible with God. See, God can do anything. And so, where the story began for me is I was at the temple, and I was burning incense, and I was praying, and I was worshiping. And so, as I was praying and worshiping, something amazing happened that never happened to me before. I knew about all these miracles, but it never happened to me. And it actually literally left me speechless. So, as I was tending to the altar, all of a sudden, this bright light started shining down on me. And then I heard this voice.
Don't be afraid, Zachariah. God has heard your prayer. Your wife, Elizabeth, will give you a son, and you are to name him John. You'll have a great joy and gladness, and many will rejoice at his birth. For he will be great in the eyes of the Lord, and he will turn many Israelites to the Lord their God. He will be a man with the spirit and power of Elijah. He will prepare the people for coming of the Lord.
I didn't know what that was. This angel appears. This This is the first time for me. I knew about all the stories, but it's been hundreds of years before we've heard from God. And this angel appears. Now, you might think that an angel is like a little baby with wings and really cute. Angels are not cute. Angels are strong, and they are powerful. And I was freaking out. I was scared. My knees were knocking, and I just froze. And it took me a minute, and I finally said, "How can this be? We're old. How can this be?"
I am Gabriel. I stand in the presence of God. It was he who sent me to bring you this good news. But now, since you didn't believe what I said, you will be silent and unable to speak until the child is born.
Okay, just a side note. If an angel gives you advice, just go ahead and follow it. Don't doubt them, right? So this angel tells me, and I think, okay, I'm in the temple for a little longer than they expected, and people were waiting for me outside. And so, what would you do? I ran outside, and after I was done, and I was like, and I couldn't speak. I couldn't say anything. And so then I tried to tell him, I went, and finally they got it. I think they understood me, right? I couldn't say anything. Nothing came out. So I finished at the temple, and I went back to the hills of Judea. And just like the angel said, it happened. It happened just like the angel said. Elizabeth, all of a sudden, Elizabeth was pregnant with a baby. And after months and months of me not being able to say anything, and my wife being pregnant, she gave birth to a baby boy. And after 8 days, there's our custom. And after 8 days, we take the baby and we dedicate the baby, and that's when we name the baby. And so we went to go dedicate the baby, and when they said, what will his name be? My wife Elizabeth said, his name is John. And they said, oh, come on, how can that be? There's no John in your lineage. Why would you ever name him John? And they wouldn't believe her. And so I asked for something to write on. And I held it up. And as soon as they read it, all of a sudden I could speak. His name is John, and I started glorifying the Lord and worshiping God. And I was just spilling with months of not being able to speak. But the angel told me I didn't believe, so I wasn't going to be able to speak. But as soon as I said, his name is John, I could speak again. And you can see further in Luke, it's written, where we see he has sent us a mighty Savior from the royal line of David. Have you guys learned that Jesus is from David? Yeah, just as he promised, through his holy prophets long ago. And further, it says, and you, my little son, will be called the prophet of the Most High, because you will prepare the way for the Lord. My baby, John, that the angel promised, is going to prepare the way for this Messiah we have been waiting for such a long time. You will tell people how to find salvation through forgiveness of their sins. You're going to tell people that the light is coming. See, the morning light from heaven is about to break on us. This light that God is promising us is coming. And my baby John is going to be the one who prepares the way. And that light is going to give light to those dark places. It's going to cover our sin. Now, we come from a small town, and nothing really big happens in a small town like we come from. So this was kind of crazy and odd. And people in the town were asking, who is this baby going to grow up to be? They didn't know. None of us knew. And when John got old enough, he grew up and he left our town and he went into the wilderness. And he started wearing animal skins. And he was eating locusts, bugs. How many of you like eating bugs? John was eating bugs, and he would eat honey and things like that. And then he started his ministry. He started telling everyone that somebody's coming, and you need to be ready. Be ready. He's coming. So he starts this ministry, and he starts telling everyone about the coming Messiah. My little boy John, I was too old to have a child, and so was Elizabeth. But see, nothing's impossible with God. And just as I knew from the Old Testament books that someone was going to prepare the way, I never realized that my son would be the one. See, my son started telling everyone. And as you heard at the beginning, John chapter 1 talks about Jesus is the living Word. He's the living Word. He was before the Word. He is the Word. And this Messiah is coming to live among us. And a lot of us can ask the question, why would he do that? Well, because remember, sin entered the world. And sin brought darkness into the world. And Jesus is the light of the world. See, John told everybody, just like I'm telling you now, Jesus is the light of the world, and light always overcomes darkness. Have you ever been scared in a dark room? What makes you less scared? You turn on the light, right? You turn on the light. As soon as you turn on the light, you feel okay. Like some of you might sleep with a nightlight on or something like that. It makes you feel safe. See, Jesus that John told everyone about is the light of the world. At Christmas, I understand you celebrate Jesus' birth at Christmas. The light of the world coming here to shine on our sin and make us right with God. So today, when you leave your classrooms today, you're going to get a star like this. Okay? So you're going to go home with a star. And I saw on your map that right when Jesus was born, there's a star right above the manger. Right? See, light overcomes darkness, just as Jesus came to overcome our sin. You know what else light does? Light lights a path. If you can't see where you're walking, you can shine light and light your path. You know what? Jesus wants to guide our path. He is the light.